This is a Louie Tee Network exclusive.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Louie Tee, host of the Louie Tee Network, and this is One Burning Question, a series that will take a look at all 32 teams in the National Football League and pose a question. Some teams will have micro questions where we look at the team in its current state and talk about what could potentially happen for them in this season. And some will take a macro approach where we kind of open up the lens a bit and take a step back and look at it from a wide view look and perspective and talk about where these franchises might be going in the future, not just this season, but moving forward. So I'll take a look at each and every single team, ask a burning question, answer that question, and move on to the next team. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy One Burning Question. Welcome to this In the Lab Room exclusive One Burning Question. I, of course, am your host, Louie Tee. Thank you for joining me. From one north to the next. We're now talking NFC North football, and we're talking Green Bay Packers here on One Burning Question. And let's take a look at the Packers, the current state, and talk about the one burning question for the Green Bay Packers in the 2015 NFL season. Are the Packers capable of overcoming the mass quantity of injuries, or is this season already a write-off? This is a Packers team that we've seen go through the highs and the lows, the ebbs and the flows of the 2015 NFL season. They start off the season 6-0. Looks like business as usual, despite all of the injuries, despite not having Jordy Nelson and having some of their guys be banged up, Eddie Lacy in and out of the lineup, and not having 100% Randall Cobb to start the season off. Getting James Jones back on the roster literally 2 weeks to a week before the start of the NFL regular season. This team was kind of going right along, status quo, the way we've expected the Packers to perform with Aaron Rodgers under center and Mike McCarthy pulling the strings. But then the wheels fell off of this Packers vehicle, losing 3 out of 4 contests. Some of that could be contributed to the level of opponent and opposition on the road. Undefeated Panthers, undefeated Broncos, tough spots. But to lose to the Detroit Lions at home, that's not Packer-like. To go on the road and beat Minnesota, clean some things up, great. But to come back home on Thanksgiving and lose to the Bears, not really Packers-like once again. And so a lot of the questions started to be asked. Is this Packers team really a contender in the NFC? Can this Packers team overcome all of the injuries? And most importantly, could this Packers team somehow, some way bypass the injuries and get it done on the offensive side of the football with Mike McCarthy not calling the plays? Well, Mike McCarthy has since taken over play calling duties once again. They looked good against the Cowboys, but then again, it's the Cowboys. Not hard to look good against that football team without Tony Romo. They're not going to score points. Defensively, Cowboys aren't that bad. Packers looked good on the ground, and they were able to get some things accomplished through the air as well. But now the question begs, what happens when you step up the level of competition? What happens when you're not playing the Cowboys? What happens when you have to travel to Carolina again? What happens when you have to go to, say, Arizona in the playoffs or somewhere else where it's a tough environment for you to have to deal with? Are you capable of getting the job done? Because the Packers are going to make the postseason. Now, we could debate whether they're going to win the NFC North division or end up a wild card. Either way, they're getting into the tournament and they're going to have a shot. All signs point to them winning the division. They've already beaten the Minnesota Vikings once in Minnesota. Final game of the season in Lambeau will probably determine this division if the Vikings haven't already lost enough games to give the Packers the division outright by then. But this Packers team still seems to be missing something. I like the performance against the Cowboys, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to overcome all of the injuries. Sam Shields leaves the game versus the Dallas Cowboys. Don't really know the extent of his injury right now at this current moment, but he's an integral part of that defense. You look at their offense, and the offensive line has been banged up all season long. You're hoping Eddie Lacy is starting to get healthy and on the right track. You hope that James Starks can stay healthy and stay on the right track. You're hoping that you get Andrew Quarless back and he comes in and helps this offense at the tight end position. You're still not separating at the wide receiver position as well as you would like. Jared Abbrederis getting more snaps now. Saw a lot of him and less of Devontae Adams in the game versus the Cowboys. Don't know if that's an adjustment that the Packers are trying to make there, but they're searching for answers. Are the injuries going to take their toll to the point where the Packers can't compete in the postseason, or are they going to be able to overcome them and potentially do battle in the NFC divisional round, or even better, the NFC championship game? We'll see. This is a Packers team right now, I think, going through a little bit of a transitional phase because of all of the injuries and having to do with a new play caller and now going back to Mike McCarthy. Let's see if they're able to right some of the wrongs and some of the bad habits that they picked up in the course of trying to adjust to not having all of their players and trying to adjust to a new play caller. Let's see if they're able to shake those bad habits, go back to Green Bay Packers football, dominating teams to finish up this season and really go in the right direction. So I'll ask the question once more. Are the Green Bay Packers capable of overcoming the mass quantity of injuries, or is this season already a write-off? Do you think the Packers can beat the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona? Do you think the Green Bay Packers can beat the Carolina Panthers in Carolina? If not, then this season is already a write-off. Because with the Green Bay Packers, unlike some of the other teams just looking to try to get into the playoffs, it's Super Bowl or bust. That's the Green Bay Packers and their one burning question. I'm Louie Tee. See you next time.